if you are in a cash crunch, the next few minutes could be incredibly, incredibly helpful and probably something you've never heard before. Now, before I go any further, I do need to let you know this is not legal or financial advice. Check with your lawyers, accountants, and other professionals where appropriate. So this is Tim Francis once again. I think one of the most powerful quotes, I repeat this again and again with all of my clients and also in my internal team, is that clarity of problem leads to appearance of solution. There's this great quote from a famous engineer in the 1960s. His name was Charles Kettering. He worked for General Motors, and he said, "A problem well defined is half solved." So before we jump to any kind of grand conclusions, let's make sure we get clarity of the current situation and the current problem. And believe me, you will save yourself tons of heartache. So let's get clear on the first and possibly most important part of this presentation and of your current situation. Your business won't die if it doesn't have sales. I know that that sounds maybe like crazy or different than something you've heard about, but it's true. It's not actually sales. Businesses die when they run out of cash. And if you doubt that, then consider the fact that YouTube had like millions and millions and millions of subscribers. So did Facebook, millions and millions and millions of subscribers. And Google had millions and millions and millions of searches and users. And all of those companies reached those levels before they ever included advertising. So they literally didn't sell a damn thing. And they had hundreds of millions of dollars of valuation in the venture capital world. They had hundreds of millions of users and clicks and views and all the rest, and yet they still hadn't sold a damn thing. So understand, like, how could it be that these businesses could exist even though there were no sales? Well, it's because it's not sales that is the living or dying metric of a business. The living and dying metric of a business is cash. And cash can come from a lot of different sources. And so in the case of Google and Facebook and YouTube, it came in the form of investor money. So that's it seems subtle, but it is crucial that you separate in your mind sales from cash, because they actually are two different things. Sales hopefully leads to you having cash, and I'll clear that up in just a moment from now. However, sales is not the only way to obtain cash. And I want to expand possibilities for you so that you can get unstuck. So here's some examples of how sales aren't cash. Maybe you've sold something, you've had a big launch or a big promotion of some kind, then within the next few weeks you end up getting some refunds. Maybe you end up having to pay commissions to other people. Maybe there's a delay in processing where the credit card company hasn't actually sent you your money yet, and you're like patiently or maybe not so patiently waiting to get your cash. And you see what I mean? There's a difference between selling it and having the sale happen and even expecting to have the sale, and then actually getting the cash can be two different things. Another example is accounts receivable. Maybe you've had the experience of selling maybe something big or maybe many units of something, and the person buying says, perfect, it's net 30 terms, net 60, net 90, the check is in the mail. Well, it's great, you've made the sale, maybe you've even shipped the products, you've provided the service, but you haven't received the cash yet, for goodness gracious, It's got to drive you crazy. I've even heard of some of the really big companies like Walmart will sometimes have net never terms. Now, obviously that's a joke, but that just that illuminates some of the frustration that people can have when they sell to really big companies, because net never means of course it's not never, but it's like 90 days or 120 days. It seems like forever until we actually get our cash. Here's a few examples of cash today sources. So consider some of these to help you get out of your cash crunch. Number one is selling more of your product or service, yes, provided that you're going to collect it ASAP. There's also cash today you can get if you collect on outstanding invoices. So maybe there's, again, products that you've provided, services you've rendered, and you have even sent an invoice, but you just haven't been paid yet. So collect on those outstanding invoices. It's one of the fastest ways to put cash in your bank. Also collecting more quickly. So, with all of your new customers, simply change the terms and say, instead of saying, you got to pay us in 15 days, in 30 days, tell them it's 15 days. And provided obviously the relationship is still good, you still get to close the sale, et cetera, like a lot of people actually are fine with that. In fact, you'd be surprised how many people are totally fine with that. All you got to do is just make the change or make the ask. Now, another way to do this, which is really interesting, is if there's anybody who's on a payment plan with you of some kind, you can actually send them an email and say, if you're willing to clear up the entirety of the balance of what you owe to me, I will give you 5% off or 10% off. And I've personally had this experience before. I was in I think it was a 12-month program, and I'd selected like the 9-month payment plan. And around the 4 or 5 month mark, I got an email saying that if I paid the outstanding months that I hadn't gotten to yet, and if I were to pay it all in one lump sum, kind of pay off months 6, 7, 8, and 9, all in month 5, that they would give me a deal. They would cut down my balance owing by 5 or 10%. Another way is to actually pay more slowly. So you can hold on to more cash today if you pay more slowly. And that sometimes gives you the oxygen to be able to just stay alive a little bit longer while you're solving the bigger problems, or let's say the other problems in the business. And so sometimes that's, again, renegotiating terms with current people that you pay, like current vendors, or that could be just changing the terms on all new deals, which might save you some cash. In fact, if you're negotiating something right now, there's a lot more that you can negotiate on than just the price, right? There's the terms of the deal as well. And sometimes just changing the terms, even if it's the same price, can make all the difference in you being able to do the deal or not. Here's a few other cash today sources. You've probably done this before, is borrowing money in the form of a loan from friends or family or the bank. That also puts cash in your bank today. So does you personally investing more into the business. I know I've done that on many occasions. That's via cash or credit card or a line of credit or something else like that. Now, you could also actually sell a piece of your company. You could sell shares in your company. That would be another way to generate cash. And then also selling equipment that you have, like if you've got laptops you're not using or printers you're not using, or if you've got a bigger business, maybe you've got like a forklift you're not using. Maybe you own property. Maybe you own vehicles that are just sitting around not really doing anything. That again puts cash in the bank. Now, obviously, that's not a long-term sustainable solution because you've only got so many vehicles and so many laptops to sell. You can't stay alive forever selling your equipment before you've got no equipment at all. But as far as a cash today solution, it can help get you out of a bind. So I've kind of touched on this already, but sustainability obviously is a big part of the equation in the medium and long term. And selling obviously is a really big part of sustainability. Furthermore, on the last slide you saw, I had a note at the bottom, be careful, right? Be very careful if you're thinking about selling equipment or property. Be very careful if you're thinking about selling shares in your business. These can be decisions that you have that may haunt you for months and years to come. So really be careful about making some of the bigger moves, like selling pieces of your company or selling equipment or property or land or something like that. So now obviously selling and making sure that we have a sales machine in place is a huge part of sustained success. And again, I would never, ever, ever deny that. Understand though that ultimately managing cash is the root of existence for a business. Even if you don't know what product, if the product you've got is the right solution, you can pivot as long as you don't run out of cash. Even if you don't know if your team is the right team to be with you for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, that's okay as long as you've got the cash to survive the time that you're figuring it out. If your sales machine isn't working and you're really sputtering, that's okay as long as you've got cash to weather the storm, right? So managing cash is the root of existence for every business on the planet. So how do we, what's like a tool, right? What can we do to see exactly where we are kind of today and in the coming 2 to 3 months so that we can, again, get clarity of the problem so then we can have appearance of the solution? So the answer is actually a tool called a cash flow forecast. A cash flow forecast is a great tool. It's actually for all businesses, not just those in a cash crunch. Healthy businesses oftentimes have at least once per quarter. They'll take a look at, hey, where are we at cash-wise? What do we see coming down the pipe? And creating a forecast is a tool I'm going to share with you in just a minute from now. So what we're forecasting is actually cash in and cash out. Now, to be very clear here, very clear, again, I got to make this distinction for you. What we're not forecasting is sales in or expenses out, because sales in, like we said, if I've got a $500,000 launch or a $20,000 sale, and I know that I'm going to sell that tomorrow or next week, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm actually going to get the cash for it tomorrow or next week. So I need to be sensitive and conscious and clear that what I'm not forecasting is sales. What I'm forecasting is, when am I actually going to get the cash? It's not sales, it is cash. Likewise, we're not looking at expenses out, we're looking at cash out. Because again, with expenses going out, that can mean a whole wide range of different things for different people in different situations. Especially if you've got a physical product. Technically, if you're on accrual accounting, and I'm going to be a little dorky here for a moment, or nerdy, I should say, around accounting, you buy inventory today, and your cash has to go out the door for that. But in accrual accounting, which you may or may not be using, and I'll talk more about that in a few minutes, you're actually not booking that expense until the time that you actually sell the product off your website. So that's a nuance. It's an important nuance, but I'll tell you later. What's most important right now is that we're really keenly focused on cash. When is it coming in, and when is cash going out? Okay, so we're going to take a look at a cash flow forecast, and I'm going to show you how to build one. So here we go. In our cash flow forecast, in the very beginning, it looks like this. So it's just a simple Google spreadsheet. I share this exact tool with my consulting clients, with my board of advisors members who work for an entire year with me, sometimes 2-3 years, to develop their CEO skills. And so this is literally the tool that I share with them. So in the very beginning, it's very simple. We've got, what's the 90-day period that we're looking at? So the period starts August 1, then week number 2 right there is August the 8th, and week number 3 starts on August the 15th, week number 4th, August 22, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Not rocket science. And you can see it goes for 13 total weeks, which is 3 months, which is the quarter. So once that's set up in the spreadsheet, then we're going to do just like a real scratch calculation of our average monthly expenses. So I know that in the first week of August, I'm going to have around $10,000 of expenses. Now, this is all fictional data, but just work with me on this. So if I know there's approximately $10,000 of expenses in terms of wages, any rent, any software rentals, any kind of recurring expenses that I've got, all I got to do is just look at my credit card, or the 2 credit cards, your credit card and your PayPal account, however it is that you pay for things, and just take an average. Just lump it up. I know for me, I've got almost all my expenses going through one credit card. And so all I have to do is just look at the last 3 months of statements, like how much credit card did I have to pay down to clear the thing each of the last 3 months. And then just do an average. Just do an average. Now, obviously, if you've got some massive, huge peak or valley, like kind of take that out if that's not going to be coming up in the next 3 months. More than anything, we just want to get like kind of 85, 80%, 85%, 90% clear that, we're approximately in the right ballpark, okay? And then from there, you're just going to put it on the cash flow forecast spreadsheet into whatever your rhythm is. Now, obviously, I do have expenses. Some come out in the first week, second week, third week, fourth week, but I'm just going to keep it super simple, lump them all together, create an average, and plunk it into the first of the month. August 29th, obviously that spans the first of the month, and September 26th spans the first of the month, right? And they're just going to plunk those in there. So once that average is in there, then I'm going to start plotting in what are the occasional expenses that come up in the business. So that is anything that is kind of one-time expenses, like if I've got to pay commissions on something, maybe there's a workshop I'm attending, maybe there's new tools that I'm buying, and so just slot them into the week that your cash is going to be going out the door in accordance with the coming 13 weeks. Maybe you've got a mastermind that you're paying for, maybe you're paying a bonus to someone, or maybe you're doing profit sharing with your team, whatever it is, wherever there's a cash outflow that's not an average monthly thing, but more kind of a one-time thing or a very occasional type thing, plot that in here. Okay, next up, we're gonna look at what kind of repeating cash in do I have? So if on average, and this is kind of like the average expenses where cash goes out, we're looking at what are the average cash inflows. So if I know that during August, September, and October, that my average 3-month sales for that quarter of the year is X dollars by looking at last year, then I can just approximate and plunk this number in here. Another way to do it is just to look at the last 3 months. If you've got like more of a monthly recurring revenue type business, like you're charging the same people the same amount every single month. And in that case, just kind of look like what's the trend, and let's extrapolate up a little bit to see where are we going. And maybe that means your business is flat, or maybe it's down or up. But again, we just want like kind of 80, 85, 90% clarity on approximately how much cash you can pretty much be certain is going to be coming into the business, every week or every 2 weeks, something like that. Maybe it's once a month for your business. Again, don't get caught in the details or trying to be too perfect here. We just need the broad strokes to get clarity. So next up, we're going to add in the occasional revenue. So you can see there's a pattern here. Average expenses, one-time expenses, average inflows, one-time inflows. So maybe I've got a commission coming in for this. Maybe I'm going to teach a workshop there. I'm going to teach that same workshop again a few weeks later. Whatever the non-average kind of one-time or very occasional type inflows are, go ahead and put those in there. Okay, so next up, we're going to subtotal this thing. So all I'm doing, this is simply adding up all of these fields. So if you were to manually add that up, it would turn out to being $9,500. Like you can see, there's $0 here, and so that equals 0. Likewise, down here, this weekly cash out is simply the sum of all the cash entries for that week. So $10,000 is $10,000. Over here, if you add up 10, 5, and 25, you get $17,500. Super straightforward. Okay, next up, all I'm doing is I'm adding this line now here, this line 22, and all it is saying weekly cash in minus weekly cash out gives me my net cash for the week. So 9,500 minus 10,000 gives me negative 500. $0 in, $5,000 out equals negative $5,000. Next up, all I'm doing is adding this right here. Adding my input starting bank balance. So whatever my bank balance is today when I'm starting this 13-week forecast, all I do is just put it in right there. And that kind of lets me know, okay, this is the reality, right? This is the reality of where we are right here, right now, today. Next up, we're going to add this right here. So you can see that my bank balance today is my starting bank balance for the coming 13 weeks. Now, obviously for you, when you're watching this video, it may not be August the 1st. So obviously this is all going to change. Your period is going to change. Just make sure that your starting bank balance is accurate here, that you're going to then just put it right there to represent where we are today as we start this 13-week journey. So we can see we've got our starting cash of $5,000. We know that the net cash for the week, and if you remember correctly, we've got $9,500 cash coming in, we've got $10,000 going out, so that's net cash of negative 500. Lo and behold, there's our number, negative 500. If we take our starting cash minus the negative 500, which is our net flow for the week, we should end up with about $4,500 at the end of this week. Now you're going to see that the end cash for this week becomes the start cash for that week. So along the way, this number and that number is going to be identical. That number and that number is going to be identical. That number and that number is going to be identical, so on and so forth. So when I drag all of this out, we now start seeing that $5,000 minus 500 is $4,500. That is where I should be cash-wise approximately by the end of the week. So that means the start of the next week, I start with the same amount, 4,500. We've got 0 coming in, 5,000 going out for a net of negative 5,000. 4,500 is our starting cash, minus 5,000 is the flow for the week, and we end up with negative $500 is how much cash we're going to have at the end of this week. Carry that on to the next week, negative 500. We've got 3,000 coming in, we've got 0 going out for a net flow of 3,000 for the week. We started at negative 500, plus our flow of positive 3,000 leaves us at plus 2,500 for the end of the week. So now, because I'm nerdy about business and accounting and spreadsheets and all this fun stuff, I've actually gone another step further and I added in conditional formatting. If you don't know what that is, you'll see it right away. All it says is that any cell down here that is positive is green, and any cell that's negative, make it red. So just for me, when I'm using the spreadsheet, I can instantly see very quickly where I'm going to be in crisis and where I'm safe. So I affectionately call this right here the oh shit line, because it's the point where I run out of cash for like a pretty long time. In fact, I would even say the oh shit line is right here. So then all I got to do is just start asking myself some questions around like, okay, how can I solve this problem coming up? Maybe if all I did was I did this seminar right here, let's say I do it one more time, I've got reason to believe that I'm going to have extra cash come in because of it. I'm going to put that in there. Whoops. I'm going to copy that so it's the same seminar. I'm going to paste it in. I don't know why that's not going in. I'll just type it in. And guess what? Look, automatically all this updates. I've now pushed the oh shit line from right here to being here. So now the oh shit line is there. Great. So I've now got like some breathing room for 3 weeks. I got a big problem here. I got negative 14,500. Well, maybe I could launch some kind of private consulting or mastermind, or maybe I could do some kind of, if I had a product, I could do some kind of like, blowout sale, find some excuse in August to do a promotion. And that's going to help me put an extra $20,000 so I would just put another line in here. I would say, fall promo. And, we're going to do the promo here. So the cash is actually going to show up here. Great. So we've got $20,000 that's going to come in there. And guess what that does? My cell is not calculated properly. Right. It's because so let's just say, for example, I put it right there. That should fix it. There we go. So bingo, there we go. Everything fixed. And guess what? Now I've pushed the oh shit line out to here, right? And now I also know how to lead my team. I know, hey guys, we need to find a way to sell an extra seminar here. We got to build this into our marketing plan that we're going to have a launch there. And maybe there's a way for me to call, I'm down 5,000 here, right? So this is the oh shit line. Maybe I can talk to the person that I've got this commission with and ask them if they would kindly pay me sooner, right? And if they do that, I could maybe put that there. And guess what? Now I'm safe here, $0. So we've now pushed the oh shit line out again, even further, right? And as I continue to kind of work this spreadsheet, I get to build out a path to oxygen for many weeks to come. And now guess what? I can actually sleep at night because I know I'm not going to blow up in the next few weeks or few months, right? And I just continue to engineer this spreadsheet with all the different cash today strategies and cash making strategies that I've shared in this presentation, as well as any other cash strategies that may come up. And guess what? Now there's some oxygen in the room. So that's a cash flow forecast. That's how you use a cash flow forecast. And that is how a cash flow forecast can help inform the decisions that you make around marketing, around sales, around collecting money, around payables, around borrowing money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you can see that this cash management is literally at the root of all the decisions that you make. Now, obviously, we want to eventually be in a place where we've got so much cash that we end up never worrying about it. Like the oh shit line doesn't even exist because it's so far down the road. We're good, we're safe. And ideally, we would get to a point where the oh shit line would be at least 3 months away, because that means we would have enough cash in the bank to handle everything coming up for the next 3 months, which again just creates more breathing room. Microsoft at one point had an entire year's worth of expenses sitting in a checking account, which is super, super powerful. Now here's the thing, right? As entrepreneurs, we oftentimes see opportunity and we get super excited. So if you push the oh shit line out 2 months, 3 months, I think there's a chance you might go, ooh, we should hire someone new, or we should create a new product, or we should buy another business or buy one of our competitors. In which case, guess what? That has a major cash implication, and now we're right back to being very careful about when are we going to buy that business, when are we going to hire that person, when are we going to buy that equipment, and plot it into your cash flow forecast to make sure you're not going to blow yourself up in the process. Okay, so let's get back into our presentation slides. And here's just a few closing tips and notes for you. So first of all, 80% accuracy, not always, but it often does yield 100% insight. So in the cash flow forecast we just looked at, maybe I was off by a few $100s or 5 or 10% or something, but it became super clear that I needed to come up with another $500 within a week. And I may have been a little bit off as far as the commission I would get from somebody else, right? Like when we take a look at the spreadsheet, who knows? Maybe this commission isn't 5,000, maybe it's 4,500, or maybe it's 6,000. I mean, it could be higher, it could be lower, but that's okay. We just need to be in the game, be in the spreadsheet, be in the data, get it in, and we just need to keep it moving and just put our best guess, our best foot forward to get clarity, at least 80, 85% clarity on what the situation is. So don't let perfection and don't let precision get in the way, because it'll kibosh all the value that you might get. And even if this is off by 10, 15%, it can still give me 100% of the insight that I need, that in fact, I need to renegotiate these payment terms, or I need to get paid sooner, or something like that. So remember, 80% accuracy often yields 100% of the insight that you need to make the management, leadership, entrepreneur decision you need to keep that oh shit line far down the road. Secondly, remember, cash is oxygen for a business. No oxygen and you drown or suffocate. It's just that simple. And so timing really matters. Maybe you've got a launch coming down the road, or maybe you've got some kind of a special Christmas promotion, or maybe you've got some other cash influx coming and it's 60 days away and it's going to solve all your problems. But guess what? If you don't have cash for the next 15 days, that 60-day solution, as great as it is and as helpful as it will be in 60 days, it doesn't solve your problems today. If we think of cash as oxygen, could you imagine being swimming in the ocean? You've got your oxygen tanks on the back and you're about to run out of oxygen. And does it make any sense to say, oh, well, it doesn't matter if I don't have any oxygen for the next hour, because there's a really huge oxygen supply in an hour from now. I'm good. I don't need to worry about the oxygen of today or the fact that I'm going to run out of oxygen in the next 10 minutes. I don't need to worry about that, because guess what? There's oxygen in an hour from now when I get to my destination swimming. So, how absurd is that, right? And that's the exact same situation here. Timing matters. Maybe you've got a big 60-day influx of cash in 60 days, but you've got a problem in the next 2 weeks. That's great, you got the 60-day solution, but you need to take care of the 2 weeks as well. Now, a couple notes. Number one, this is not what's called GAAP accounting. If you end up showing this to your accountant, or if you are an accountant or a bookkeeper, you're looking at this and you're probably going, this doesn't look like what I learned in university, or this doesn't look like how we file paperwork with investors. And that's because this isn't GAAP accounting. GAAP stands for Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. This is not GAAP accounting, nor is this accounting for tax purposes. This is what I call entrepreneur accounting. How do I get the clarity to make the decisions that I need at the time that I need them? That's what I need. I need these numbers, not to file taxes, but to help guide me as the CEO, COO, leader, CFO, whatever my role is as the leader of this company, and I need to make the right decision. And so this style of accounting oftentimes is all you need to be effective. Now, if you've had some confusion along the way, there could be the possibility that there's an issue with cash versus accrual accounting. I can't give a proper explanation on the difference of cash versus accrual accounting in like under 10 minutes. It's the two different kinds of accounting. Your business is going to be on either cash or accrual. I've heard some accountants use like kind of hybrids. And so basically cash accounting, everything counts when cash changes hands. Accrual accounting is when the actual earnings are earned or the expenses incurred. Now, if that still leaves you confused, no problem. Talk to your accountant. Send us an email if you want. I wouldn't get too tied up in that. Just focus on your 13-week cash flow forecast when cash moves in and out of your business, and you'll be totally fine in so much as this lesson is concerned. So if you need some extra help, you can email us, support@profitfactory.com. If you'd like to, I don't know if it would be a fit for you or not, but you could explore private consulting with me personally. It's not cheap, but it is super powerful. I've helped clients find literally hundreds of thousands of dollars of profit. And I've also helped other clients who are in smaller businesses find $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 of extra profit, which can be really, really exciting. And we've also helped some businesses literally just avoid it blowing up, like in a bad way, because they didn't see the oh shit line soon enough. You may also want to explore, again, I don't know if it's a fit for you or not, Board of Advisors, which is my year-long program where I help entrepreneurs to gain the CEO skills to move from being kind of a business owner to an owner of businesses, to be able to graduate from being good at marketing and sales and creating their product and actually graduating up into being like a good CEO, someone who can see the whole picture of the business. It's super common for a business to grow to like 1 to 3 million in sales. And they think they've just got it made because they've now got a 7-figure business. And then they realize that their bank account shows that they've sold $1 million, but they've kept almost none of it. And they were actually more profitable, and they actually had more cash in the bank when their business is doing only $400,000 in sales or 500 or something like that. So, and it's okay. Like there's a way to get through that. It's just a new set of skills. It's learning how to be a CEO. It's learning how to read your financials. And Board of Advisors is a year-long program. And we do have people that stay for multiple years to be a space to gain the CEO skills so that you can elevate your ability to be successful with your business. So this is Tim Francis. Thanks for watching. And hopefully this helps you if you are in a bit of a cash crunch right now. And if you're not in a cash crunch right now, hopefully this gives you some additional leadership CEO skills and abilities and tools and insights and clarity and everything so that you can lead your business effectively and really fulfill your potential as an entrepreneur. Thank you for listening. I'm honored that I had an opportunity to be a part of your day today. Thank you.